Hello, this is Steve Hermann, author of Mediumship Mastery, The Ultimate Guide, and I'm sitting right by beautiful Spirit Pond in beautiful Spirit Park in beautiful Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp, Cassadaga, Florida. Cassadaga is southern Cassadaga, named after the Cassadaga in upstate New York where the Lilydale Spiritualist Camp is located. And I'll tell you, Cassadaga is a vortex of spirit power and energy. I've been coming here now for over 30 years, and I'm here much of the month teaching mediumship programs, and I love it here. I'm going to be very, very, very busy, but I want to share a little bit about mediumship development with you during this brief video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about clairvoyant development, specifically with symbology. And we see that when you start to develop clairvoyance, you start to receive visual imagery, which is thought pictures which are presented, impressed upon your mind by the spirit helpers. Oftentimes, this imagery, it's not only literal, it can be expressed symbolically, metaphorically. And why would an image be presented in symbolic form? Well, one picture is easily worth 1,000 words. It's just a very efficient, it's an extremely effective means for the spirit operators to get and convey information to the medium. Of course, the problem is the medium receives it, and then they somehow just mess up with the translation of it. They misinterpret the information when giving it out. And this is common, especially with novice mediums, because your mind's involved and you get this imagery. Well, what the heck does it mean? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I mean, the biggest thing, if you're studying mediumship right now and you're starting to receive imagery, and some of it is symbolic, what I would suggest to you is really go with what it means to you as opposed to what it might mean for someone else. For example, let's say the image of an American flag. What that image of an American flag might mean to me, it would be completely different to you, be completely different to 3 other people. So you really want to base on what it means to you. Don't worry too much about the goofing up part or saying it the wrong way, because early on in your development, your helpers will experiment with you. And if there's error, if you say something slightly off, maybe you embellish it, you leave parts out, add things to it that don't need to be there, they will make the adequate adjustments as you progress. Mediumship progression is ongoing. So when we talk about symbols, we can see even within cultures that different cultures view different imagery differently. I mean, for example, in China, the image of a snake, it conveys good luck. In other places in Europe, a snake might be considered just completely evil. It's not that one's right or one's wrong. It just depends on the context of the information that's presented. And certainly the background, the education of the particular medium is going to have a lot to do with what the information means in terms of how it's presented. I remember quite a few years ago, over 20 years ago, I had this one student, and I remember I was talking about in class, well, if you want to learn symbology, because some of the people in this one particular group, they were having trouble just coming up with symbols or figuring out how to interpret symbols. And what I said to the class, well, why don't you just purchase or acquire a book on symbols? And you can get these books. You can go to some shopping mall at the Barnes & Noble or the bookstore there. You're going to find some type of book on symbology. And if you look through that book, it has all this different imagery and symbols and what they commonly mean, the interpretation for these symbols. Now, what this particular student did is he went and bought the book on symbology, and he memorized the entire book. I mean, he went through from the cover to the back, and he memorized every single specific symbol there according to the interpretation or the definition as presented in the book. So after that, his helpers worked with him that way. They started using that particular book as a frame of reference. And I know online you can go and you can also find a lot of interpretations of symbols, common symbols. Now, I generally suggest that people come up with their own interpretation. So what he did was not incorrect. But I want to emphasize that when they communicate through thought, using symbology is a very, very effective way to get the information across. And to the extent that as a medium, you have an understanding of how to work with that, it can be very elaborate, the type of information that they can come through with just one or two images. It can be multi-layered, both literal and symbolic. So I hope that some of these ideas have helped you a bit. Please try to apply them within your own development. Mediumship's progression, and it's a learning experience that should be enriching, it should be enjoyable, and really we want to be motivated to move ahead and be the best possible vehicles for the spirit world to work through. If you've liked this video, please subscribe. I have a lot of online courses as well as in-person courses for mediumship and healing development. My book, Mediumship Mastery, it's used as a textbook for mediumship now by many teachers of mediumship worldwide. I'm really into the teaching aspect. I'm really also into the aspect of helping people with their growth. So may God bless each and every one of you.